Hello, folks. Thank you for joining me again. I'm Simon Ward of the triathloncoach.com. And today I wanted to ask a burning question that a lot of people have been asking me. And that is, should I still be doing high intensity interval training on a regular basis if I'm over 50? That's a great question, because I know that some people are worried that that intensity of training is going to trigger off a heart event or it's going to cause an injury, both of which will interrupt your training and affect your health and maybe your mental state, because you'll be getting frustrated about not being able to do all the things you like. So on a recent podcast, I asked my friend and my guest for that day, Professor Paul Larson, if he could help. Now, Professor Paul, known as the Prof, is the author of the book, The Science and Application of High Intensity Interval Training. So he's what you would call a world expert. He's done lots of research on this particular topic, and he practices it himself with the athletes that he advises and in his own particular training. So first question I asked him was, should we still be including it? Because I'm in this age group too, and I wanted to know the answer to that question. And thankfully, his answer was absolutely, you should still be including it. And the reasons for that are quite simple. Firstly, when you do training that's in zone 4 or zone 5, you are using large motor units. And large motor units help to trigger fast twitch fibers. So these are the ones that infer power and explosivity. Those are also the things that we lose as we get older. So in order to maintain them, we have to do some sort of training on a regular basis that stimulates these large motor units and large muscle fibers. So high intensity training is a good thing in that respect. The other thing that high intensity interval training does is it increases or helps you to maintain larger cardiac output. That is the pumping capacity of your heart chambers. In particular, the left ventricle, which is the chamber that pumps all the blood out to the working muscles around your body. And as a result of that, it helps maintain a larger stroke volume. Again, if you've got a larger stroke volume, that's good for exercise, but it also means that at rest, if you're pumping more blood with each beat, that means you've got a lower resting heart rate. And that's the reason why when you start training, your resting heart rate goes down over time, because the pumping capacity gets bigger. So that is itself is a good thing, because it not only helps you to maintain those good athletic performances, it also helps you to maintain a healthy heart, which is good just for living well. All right, so the answer to number 1 is, should I still do it? Is absolutely yes. And the next question is, well, how am I going to do those training sessions then? Because as a triathlete, I could be swimming, I could be biking, or I could be running. Now, the problem with swimming is that most people can't swim fast enough, particularly if they've had a problem with the shoulder in the past. And let's face it, most people are a bit tight around the shoulders. So turning those arms over quickly maybe isn't the best thing. And most people don't have the skill and the explosiveness in their swim stroke to be able to swim that hard anyway. So maybe we should ignore swimming for the moment, unless you're an expert swimmer. We should think about running. The problem with running hard is that that's the one that induces injury. And we know that running leads to about 60 to 80% of running injuries, directly or indirectly. And so if you've had Achilles or calf problems in the past, or knee problems, and you're at all concerned about these coming back when you run hard, then maybe this is something you want to avoid. If you are able to run hard and you don't really suffer from those injuries, then maybe you want to consider hill intervals, which were also promoted by another recent guest of mine, ultra runner Jason Coop, and running coach Bobby McGee. So running, maybe, if you don't have any injuries, but short and going uphill, so you build leg strength as well. Now, by far the best approach for triathletes is cycling. With cycling, your butt's on the saddle, your feet are on the pedals, and your hands are on the bars, and everything's fixed in position. It's much, much less likely that you're going to suffer an injury, and you can still push the power and achieve all of those things we talked about before. Okay? Recruitment of large muscle fibers, recruitment of fast twitch muscle fibers, greater stroke volume, greater cardiac output. And you can get your heart rate up pretty high while you're cycling. Now, the one thing I would say is if you're going to choose cycling as your mode of activity, you're probably better doing it on the trainer where you can go hard and you don't have to concentrate on potholes or parked cars, or you'd have your session affected by the weather conditions. So indoor trainer for safety and repetitiveness, right? And for most people, cycling is going to give you the outcomes that you want. But it doesn't really matter which of those three you choose, as long as we're getting all of those other things we talked about in terms of the heart benefits and the muscle fiber benefits. So then the third question is, well, if I'm going to do these regularly, Simon, if I'm going to do them on my bike, how long do I need to do the intervals for? Now, when Paul talks about interval lengths in his book, there's several different ways you can do these. You could do long intervals up to 4 or 5 minutes. They're more likely to be at threshold or just above, with your heart rate around 90%. But the problem with intervals like that is you get a lot of lactic acid, and that's called oxidative stress. Not only does it create more fatigue within the session, so you need longer recoveries between the reps, it also creates a lot of post-session fatigue, which means that you need longer recoveries after your session. Now, an alternative to this is what's called the 30-30, where you go at maximum effort for 30 seconds and then you rest and just turn the pedals over for 30 seconds and then you sprint for 30 seconds again. Now, by the time you've done 4 or 5 or 6 of those, your heart rate will be getting up close to the maximum. And as you're doing those reps, you're going to be fulfilling all of those other things we talked about before in terms of fast twitch fibers and large muscle units and cardiac volume. So you're going to be ticking lots of boxes there, but you're not creating a great deal of lactic acid. And after you've done 6 repetitions, then you can go easy for 3 or 4 minutes, just get your breath back, get your mind focused again, and do another set. And the benefit of this is it's almost like microdosing. You could probably do that session again later on in the week, and eventually you'll get more stimulus doing that way than doing one session where you do, say, 4 times 4 minutes at threshold. So I've answered 3 questions there. Should you be doing it? Very definitely. The best method is probably on the bike, because that is the one that is the safest and less likely to cause you injury. And when you're choosing your interval durations, stick to repetitions of around 30 seconds with roughly 30 seconds rest. But if you need a bit more than that, feel free to take it, because we also want to maintain the quality. And what you'll find with all of these is that because you recover quicker, the sessions are not going to compromise future sessions, and that's going to maintain your consistency. And as we all know, consistency is the biggest indicator of your long-term fitness. All right, so I hope that's useful. In future videos, I'm going to be laying out some structured HIIT sessions for you to follow, and I'm going to be talking about a whole load of other aspects that are going to be improving your fitness. But for now, if you like it, please drop down below. Give me the thumbs up if you like this. There's a share button. Please feel free to share it with your friends, particularly if they're over 50, so they can benefit from this advice as well. And if you're really minded to, ask me a question or leave me a comment in the comments box below. And when this video finishes, you'll find some more links to some other videos. So please go along and have a look at those, and maybe look at my daily mobility, which is the best way to start your day every single morning and stay active into old age. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.